Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Tuesday, March 3. I am Carrie Simpson. A special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Prime Minister cautions public comments on Cuba crisis. JPS assures residents in Western Jamaica that electricity will be restored by April the latest. And later in sports, Reggae girls defeat Nicaragua in Women's World Cup qualifier.
Thank you for joining us. Now the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is expressing concern about the high number of students who have not returned to the classroom since Hurricane Melissa in October. Dr. Holness raised the issue while addressing a Jamaican diaspora town hall meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis recently. More in this report.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, all schools that are able to reopen have resumed operations, though some continue under modified arrangements. Despite that progress, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness indicated that the number of students still unaccounted for remains a major concern for the government.
I think the biggest fallout, which is of concern to me, is that the Ministry of Education has reported that there are about 1,000 kids that they have not been able to track and get them to come back to school. But the good news is that the ministry is actively trying to find them, to get them back into school. Because I always believe, in the worst of situations, it is better for you to be in school than not. So we're going to find them and bring them back to school. And the other good news is that we have approved almost $5 billion for the Ministry of Education to do the restoration and the rebuilding of schools, and that is going on right across Jamaica now.
At the same time, Dr. Holness said broader recovery plans are advancing steadily since the Category 5 hurricane. Dr. Holness described the overall recovery process as progressing fairly well, but emphasized that reconstruction will require more strategic planning.
The reconstruction has to take place on two levels. The first level is that we have to look at what was destroyed, and we have to figure out, should we build this back? And I want you to just stop for a moment and think about it. It doesn't make sense to build back things we shouldn't have been there in the first place.
He also pointed to long-standing concerns about road infrastructure.
I want you to think about some of our roads. You ever wonder why we build the roads on the coast? Why we run the road beside the river? Why we put the road on the steep hillside? Why we cut the road on land that you know is going to slip? Think about it. Many of these decisions were not made by us, right? Some of them are legacy from colonial periods.
The Prime Minister says as recovery transitions into long-term rebuilding, the government is expected to focus on strengthening infrastructure. Aaliyah Bryant, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Dr. Andrew Holness is suggesting caution regarding public comments on the crisis in Cuba, warning that statements could be misread or misinterpreted. He was responding to a Jamaican who expressed concerns about the communist country, which is currently under U.S. sanctions.
You might be happy to know that one of the outcomes of the meeting here in St. Kitts is that the heads of government have agreed to establish support for Cuba in terms of humanitarian support. So in the coming days, you will be hearing more about how we intend to not just talk about support, but to give support in a humanitarian way to Cuba. There are a lot of things happening. I think thoughtful and careful pronouncements are best at this time, because there are a lot of things going on, and we don't want any errant statements to have any impact on speedy resolution, which is what we are hoping for.
Several communities in St. Elizabeth are still without electricity following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Residents say the prolonged outage is making everyday life a struggle. Alia Bryant has the details.
When the sun sets in some St. Elizabeth communities, it's not just nightfall. It's another reminder that electricity has not yet returned. Since Hurricane Melissa tore through the parish, some power lines remain down and refrigerators are still silent, forcing residents to rethink how they live, cook, and store food.
We're feeling so devastated. It's a financial strain because we have to be out getting ice, visiting the supermarket on a daily basis for food, meat, because no electricity. So I'm not sure to say we're hopeful because we're so devastated, but we're just here hanging on.
Residents say they've been forced to adapt to living without power, but it's exhausting.
I kind of used to it still in about a 4 month now. We don't have no current. 4 months now. We have a friend who carry ice come to our house, you know. But God will make a way out. You know, just trust him and believe in him.
They are pleading with the authorities to restore electricity quickly, saying it would bring not just light, but much needed relief.
I see they're in the neighboring district of the community over there. So I'm appealing that as soon as they left there, come over here.
So what area is this?
This is Zinawi.
The Jamaica Public Service, JPS, in February reported that it has restored power to over 90% of customers following Hurricane Melissa. However, in communities hardest hit by the hurricane, completion has been set between March and April 2026. Alia Bryant, TVJ News.
Now, 2 weeks after the North American line workers left the island and 4 months following Hurricane Melissa, hundreds of residents in western Jamaica remain without electricity. But as anxiety fosters among the people, the Jamaica Public Service JPS is assuring that it has sufficient resources to get the job done by April the latest.
The bucket trucks from North America are gone. The emergency reinforcements that helped kickstart restoration efforts after Hurricane Melissa left the island 2 weeks ago. But in some sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. James, some residents are still waiting and worrying. Nights without power, businesses strained, daily routines disrupted. The Jamaica Public Service JPS insists the job is far from abandoned. Director of Customer Solutions Leroy Reed says the utility company is fully resourced and pressing ahead.
I want to assure Jamaica that not only JPS crews and JPS contractors are on the job, but we also have our Caribbean partners who still are arriving in Jamaica to help us with the restoration.
He says manpower and materials are in place, and so is a plan.
We have got sufficient material, we have a clear strategy, we have focused execution, and we have established clear timelines up through to February 28th for some communities, and some communities will go beyond the end of February into March and April. We will get this done.
For some communities, that means weeks more in the dark. JPS says its Incident Command Center is located in Westmoreland, at the heart of the hardest hit zone, and the company is making a bold statement.
We will not leave until every customer is restored. Not to worry, JPS is on the job. We understand the vital importance of this commodity to their lives, and again, we will not leave until every customer is restored.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.